When was the last time you were breathalyzed?
18 months ago, Victoria Park. And before you ask, yes, I'd had a beer, one, not long before.
Nervous wait?
Even if you haven't been drinking, it's always a bit of a nervous wait. So imagine how aspiring politician Magenta Marshall felt when she had a couple, at least, and was asked to blow in the machine in late 2021. We don't know where she'd been drinking or what she'd been drinking because Magenta's keeping details close to her chest.
I'm just waiting for a mate, as I said.
Who's your mate?
Hey?
But whatever happened that day back in October 2021 ended with her blowing .08.
Okay.
I trust you.
Yeah.
She was well above the .05 limit and thus disqualified from driving for 6 months and handed a $750 fine. Says she's very sorry about it and it won't happen again. She apparently told the ALP about this incident when she applied for pre-selection to replace Mark McGowan in Rocco, so no issue with non-disclosure or threat of disendorsement.
It's not a good look for anyone, but Magenta owned up, she pleaded guilty, she paid the price. I think that's the message today.
This will all come down to whether she will be punished by voters in Rockingham for the crime of having alcohol in her system whilst being behind the wheel.
Reckon she will?
I reckon many voters in Rockingham will be amazed that a local was driving with only alcohol in her system whilst behind the wheel.
Gosh.
Normally also an assortment of Class A narcotics down Rocco way.
Get in.
Nonetheless, and predictably, independent candidate Hayley Edwards has taken the high moral ground. Says, and I quote, "As a member of Parliament, you should not have anything like that on your record."
Hang on, it hasn't stopped people before.
If we took Hayley's advice, we wouldn't have had the entertaining pleasure of knowing one of the most successful and popular politicians of the past 30 years in Australia. Recently retired long-serving member for Armidale, Alana McTiernan, was a senior minister under 3 West Australian premiers. She was mayor of the city of Vincent, a member of federal parliament, and partial to a shandy on a hot day. Alana was Minister for Road Safety back in 2001 when it emerged she'd lost her licence.
Not once, not twice, but thrice.
2 of those times for drink driving. You reckon the good burgers of Armidale gave a crap that their local member liked to visit the glass? They voted her in 1,000,000 times more.
Yeah, well, WA's always been a bit behind when it comes to boozy driving.
30 years ago, Magenta Marshall wouldn't have been in trouble for blowing .08 because that was the legal limit over here. We didn't drop it to .05 until June 1993 when we were driving these.
Why did I choose the new Falcon?
Victoria had .05 in 1966 when we were pissy driving these.
Falcon, 1966.
Guess who was advising the WA government in this area in the early 90s?
Who?
The Liquor Industry Road Safety Association.
Is that?
The pub owners. They argued we couldn't afford to have people drive sober because thousands of waiters and bartenders would lose their jobs. This was actually a thing. That's one of the reasons WA didn't have random breath tests until 1988. That was years after most states. And even then, the cops only used them if they suspected you were drunk.
Would you blow in here, please?
Blow in here? Certainly, Constable.
Not really random.
No, not even a little bit. If you were unlucky enough to get done, and you had to be pretty hammered back then to get busted, nothing much happened to you.
Sorry, officer. Whoops.
Penalties in WA were much lower than other states. In 1996, if you blew .15, that's not 05, that's 15, so pretty wankered, you got a $1,000 fine. And that was only if it was your second offence. If you did that in Victoria and New South Wales, you went to jail. It wasn't until the mid-90s that Australia as a country got serious about discouraging people from drink driving at all.
If you drink, then drive. You're a bloody idiot.
One of WA's efforts was Stay Alive in 95.
Well, they must have worked because we don't drink and drive as much anymore.
We do still drink and hold press conferences though.
We can rescue the Commonwealth Games and make these games in 2026 our own, and that is what we should be doing.
Not drunk, deadly serious. Basil Zempilas wants to bring the Commonwealth Games to Perth in 2026. The opportunity has presented itself because Dan Andrews had pulled the pin after discovering the $2.6 billion he set aside to host the Games in Victoria wouldn't touch the sides.
It's not $2.6 billion, it is in fact at least $6 billion and could be as high as $7 billion.
Perth's Lord Mayor reckons Roger Cook should make a low-ball bid, tell the federation governing the Commonwealth Games that we'll do it, but on our terms.
Now, because of Victoria's bad bungle, WA and Perth can get it at the right price, at the price we're prepared to pay for it.
Baz could save the Commonwealth.
Can you?
I'm Ben Harvey. For more update, click the subscribe button below.